Yes, but is the job a real job?
It's an empty job. It's what you get when you resign as an MP. You join the Chiltern Hundred.
So it's not really a real job. So 1624, they passed a law saying that nobody can leave Parliament. And it stems from the time when people were elected against their will. So sometimes local gentry were made to join Parliament. They didn't really want to. And the law says technically you have to die, or you have to be voted out, or you have to go and work for the Queen or something. So if you want to retire, you apply for a fictional Crown office called the Steward and Bailiff of the Chiltern Hundreds. And here are some people who have, in their time,
look at Tony Blair pretending to drink wine.
He brought an empty glass to his lips, and now he has filled it with his special liquid. Then he passes it to the person next to him, they drink it, and then they like him.
So let's go back to the sewage diver. What do you reckon? Is it a real job?
Well, it's a shit job, isn't it?
Look at that, it is a real thing. So they have a...
Wading.
There you go, yeah.
But that's not a way to resign if you're an MP. I think that would be quite popular.
That would be a good way.
I wish to leave politics, so
Yes.
now I will immerse myself in excrement.
Yes.
Who would do this job?
I used to be a sewage diver. It was just going through the motions.
Well, there are sewage farms, and they have sort of moving parts, and when things get stuck, they're fitted with air pipelines. They have to dive in and climb down to fix them.
Oh, God.
Fitted with air pipelines. I would hope so.
Yes, I... Let's take a deep breath and go for it. I would have thought the worst job is the person who has to clean the suit when they get out.
I don't know. I think I'd go, presented with that
Yeah.
terrible career choice, I think I'd go for cleaning the suit.
What about you, Queen's bagpiper, Richard? Is that a real job?
Well, she's got everything, hasn't she? The Queen. So, yeah, gosh, I'd imagine so.
She's really keen on bagpipers, isn't
Well, she inherited it. Queen Victoria was terribly keen. I mean, mad keen.
Yeah.
Mad for the
bagpipes.
Yeah.
There was no telly then, so, you know, fair enough.
Because it was much easier in the days when all you had to be better than was a bagpiper.
Yeah. 9 o'clock every morning, he plays for 15 minutes underneath her window.
Oh, no, he doesn't.
Well, he's been told it's her window. Who knows what. They play 50 minutes every day at Buckingham Palace, Windsor Castle, Balmoral, or Holyrood House. They don't play at Sandringham. Anybody know why?
Because she needs a break. That's the Christmas one, isn't it, Sandringham?
Well, apparently it's because there isn't enough accommodation.
Sorry, we just don't have the room.
No. One of the things they say.
It's a kind of anti the Christmas story, is it?
Apparently, and you'll be appalled by this, at Christmas at Sandringham, some of the royal family have to sleep in the servants' quarters. I don't know where the servants go.
Presumably that involves them seducing a servant every evening.
And when he's not bagpiping, he's a page of presents, but I have no idea what that is.
A page of presents is Santa's list, isn't it?
I'm going to give you an extra point, because that's the cutest answer anybody's ever given. What about the ornamental hermit, David? What do you reckon?
I think, didn't the sort of very rich mad aristocrat that built Follies might think a folly would be even more fun if it was permanently inhabited by someone employed to sort of be there and be a hermit?
You're absolutely right. It was very fashionable in the 18th century, and they liked people to sort of dress up as druids, and they lived in caves. If the landowner couldn't afford a hermit, because, you know, they're pricey, they saved money by having just the hermitage and telling everybody the hermit was out.
Which famously hermits never are.
No.
Yeah, I would have gone with, don't bother the hermit, he's a bit of a loner. That's more plausible,
Well,
isn't
there
it?
are still several towns in Europe that have professional hermits. So early 2017, the Austrian town of Saalfelden advertised for one. There's no salary, but you get your own house and chapel, which is very nice. There's no TV, no running water, no internet, and you need to be sociable.
You need to be sociable.
Yeah, because people turn up.
You wouldn't expect that. If
No.
you've finally made it as a professional hermit, and of course the main thing is you've got to be sociable.
2008 survey, most common job title in the UK.
Job title.
Yeah.
Party planner?
Balloon animal magician.
Wanted to be that.
Is it just an awful office work?
It's manager.
There's a lot of managers.
It is.
Most of them have been England managers as well.
That's a football joke. Anyway, moving on. Why shouldn't you give a teenage boy your phone?
Just plain hygiene. I want to give a teenage boy anything to do.
I'm not happy with anyone having my phone.
Oh, why?
My phone broke a few weeks ago, and it was like I'd lost a hand. In fact, I gained one. I felt genuinely bereft. I think having something you can stare at, and by staring at it, you look like you're gainfully occupied.
Yeah.
So people might leave you alone. It's a way of being a hermit wherever you are.
Actually, we are going back to the 19th century. It's the very first telephone systems. Bell telephone, 1878. If a call came in, they actually had to put a plug into the hole that the call was being received and then run a wire to where the call wanted to go. And when they first set up this system, they hired messenger boys because it was assumed that it was a physically demanding job and the boys were fantastic at it, they'd be really fit. Instead, they drank beer and wrestled each other, swore at the customers and connected strangers together as a prank.
It's like the first social network.
The internet is, we think it's this whizzy thing, but it's actually just a series of teenage boys in a little bunker.
Dressed like that.
It would explain a lot about the internet if it was.
And so the boys were very quickly replaced by women. By the end of the 1880s, almost all phone operators were women, and they could always remember who they were speaking to. They had to say number please about 1,000 times a day. They were polite, and they managed to knit at the same time. This is the original multitasking.
And yet the toilet was still a sink.
The phone bags, you can see how long they are in the picture, and that some of the women used to wear roller skates in order to make their way. Fantastic picture. Anyway, another occupation now. How would an onion Johnny bring tears to your eyes?
Is he wearing one there?
No, it's not a thing.
It's not a thing.
No.
So it's an emotion.
Oh, what is the emotion of onion Johnny?
It's a sad emotion, obviously. It brings
Yeah.
tears
Because
to
it's
your
making you
eyes.
cry. An ennui, maybe.
You're heading in the right direction.
Okay, really? Fine.
In that we've managed to get a cod French accent in. Yes.
So it's French.
French heading towards
French,
France.
but it's not a thing.
It's a person.
Is it a person selling onions?
It's a person selling onions. Absolutely right, Deirdre. Very well done. So they were French onion sellers who travelled door to door. In the 1920s and 30s, there were up to 1,500 of them who travelled to the UK for several months of the year, mostly on bicycles, and they're called Johnnies because they were Jean. Jean, onion Johnnies. And it's where we get the origin of the French stereotype, the beret and the stripy jumper. But in fact, they were Breton. They were from Brittany. So most French people are baffled by the fact that we think this is what a Frenchman looks like. Because most of the Johnnies didn't speak French at all. They spoke Bretonese, which is a bit like Welsh. 2008 reported only 15 onion Johnnies remain. Does anybody know the myth that if you put half an onion in your sock, within half an hour you'll be able to taste it as the chemicals run through your body?
Why would you eat your sock?
No, you don't need to eat the sock. You put the onion inside the sock to keep it in place, and then the chemicals seep up through your body.
Nonsense, I don't believe it.
It is nonsense. One of the elves tried this and it doesn't work, and what worries me is that they tried it.
They do very thorough research.
They do very thorough research.
I hear that if you finish using custard, you can taste it after half an hour.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Don't say that. I'm squelching elves.
I've heard if you put beef stroganoff in your socks, you can taste it after 6 weeks. So, it's only going to stick at that.
Sometimes they make you cry, sometimes they don't they?
Yes, and there are all sorts
There's
of...
the reasons for that.
I think it's the way in which you cut them.
Something to do with that, and also whether your partner's just left you.
There's no point in putting a spoon in your mouth then, is there?
I did that. Put a silver, do you put a teaspoon
You're
in
meant to
there?
put a spoon in your mouth. When you're chopping the onion, you put a spoon in your mouth. Grind it doesn't work.
Teaspoon or a great big spoon, like a ladle?
Oh, like a... Say a dessert spoon.
For a cast
Soup
ride.
spoon size.
And do you have it curly bit up or down?
I'd have the curly bit up in the shape of a
Don't
palette.
ask Deirdre, it doesn't work for her.
Have you ever played the spoon game?
What's the spoon game?
Spoon game is you put the spoon in your mouth, a bit like that.
Yeah.
Put your hand down.
But my word,
Your hand.
they're down.
And you go up. Right. Then David, you can get up there.
Thank you.
Then David will put the spoon in his mouth, and I'll put my head down,
Yeah.
and then a third person behind me will hit me with incredible force with another spoon. And it really, really hurts.
Yes.
So when you come up, you're enraged. And then you put the spoon back in your mouth and you really, really try as hard as you can. And then they say, right, and then the third person, "Kiss," and it took me 3 goes. And I thought, hang on a minute, you're not doing that with the spoon in your mouth.
What worried me is how compliant David was. You had no idea.
I was just trying to look fun.
I've known you a long time, David. It's a new look.
Yeah.
Now, for an out-of-office question. How do you get everyone to leave the office party?
Fire alarm?
Fire alarm's good.
Sprinklers.
I'm going to give you a clue. It's a particular office that we are going to be in. It's going to be the Oval Office.
Tell him the president's on his way.
So, the President of the United States, it was a tradition that he held an open house to celebrate the inauguration. And theoretically, anybody could show up and shake the President's hand and drink a bit of punch. So, 1829, Andrew Jackson, he had a tradition of, having people over. And it was the worst house party ever. 20,000 people showed up. Massive crowds poured in. They stood on the furniture, they ground food into the carpet, they broke the crystal, and apparently the carpet smelled of cheese. So, how to get the guests out of the house? So the house has got 20,000 people in it. They're all making the place stink of cheese. What did you do?
Fire.
No, you want to lure them. Be nice.
Ice cream van.
Ice cream van in 1829. I'm loving the idea.
Sorry. Ice cream cart.
No, they set up huge barrels of whiskey on the lawn. Free booze.
We've had so much cheese.
But he didn't learn, Jackson. So 1837, he's done 8 years in office, and he leaves office, and he's been given as a gift this massive half-ton wheel of cheese by a farmer, as a half-a-ton wheel of cheese. And he thought, we'll have that as a party. 10,000 people turned up and ate this cheese in 2 hours. And once again, the White House stank of cheese, apparently.
Simpler times when all you need for a great party is just an unbelievable quantity of cheese. Don't even need biscuits.
No. And the truth is, most people don't look forward to their office parties. They did a survey, 700 office workers, 25% did look forward to it, 40% didn't care, 20% actively hated the prospect, and 15% couldn't be asked to answer the question.
I think you have to be quite socially confident to say you're looking forward to your office party. It sounds a bit keen.
Yeah.
You're supposed to dread it or go, oh, it'll be fine. So those 25% are either very socially confident or they've completely missed the mood of the times.
Yeah. Quick question about the Oval Office. Can you spot the fascist in the Oval Office? It's a thing. This is an actual thing.
A thing,
It's not
a
buzz.
thing.
It's the thing from which we get the word fascist or fascism. It's that bundle there that you could see over the door. So what it is, it's a bundle of wooden rods. It's often shown with an axe. When Mussolini came to power, he adopted it as the symbol of fascism, so it's where we get the word from. It's a big thing for the Americans. There are 2 fascies on the seal of the United States Senate, and they also have them on their coins throughout the Second World War.
The Washington Monument is the tallest building in Washington, D.C. No other building is allowed to be more than 12 stories, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was much disputed over because they couldn't decide who was going to pay for it. So they built a bit of it and then it stopped. And by the time they finished building it, they didn't have the same marble. So you can see a line where the dispute kind of took place. This is
Don't go above a certain height, you can just use grease blocks.
I always spot that. Always.
it's a reason.
People always build their fences to like an inch lower than my eyesight, and they honestly think they're safe from everybody. But they're not safe from me. The trampolines I've seen.
This is a brilliant title for your autobiography.
Wall that goes onto public space, and the limit that we're allowed to erect to is 2 metres, which is a very close approximation of your height.
So the law about your wall height is specifically designed to allow Richard to see it.
It's for us to see Richard should he approach.
Yeah.
Right, moving on. Name the world's biggest troll.
Donald Trump.
Katie Hopkins.
Donald Twitter? Oh, that doesn't make sense.
Here's more.
Here's Morgan. And offshore, so it's not a thing, it's an offshore thing.
Do trolls live under oil rigs now? Who's that clip popping over?
It's Troll A. It's a gas platform in the North Sea's Troll gas field. It's the tallest and heaviest structure ever moved by mankind. It weighs over 1 million tons and it is taller than the Empire State Building. So normally, this is before it's been taken out.
Shut the front door.
I know. This is before it's been taken out to sea, so when it is out to sea, you can't actually see the central structures there. It takes 9 minutes to take the lift down the leg.
Whereupon you drown.
The singer Katie Melua set the Guinness World Record for the deepest concert ever given when she played 303 metres below sea level in the leg.
So they have a performance space at the bottom of the troll leg thing.
Yes, but I
I
don't...
think that shouldn't have got funding. I think they get too much money in gas, isn't it?
But I think it's strictly speaking called the dining room. It's not like a club. So you couldn't have a board outside saying what's on because it would get washed off every night.
Would you not get the bends?
It'll be pressurised.
Yeah.
It's not only is it as a sub-aqua performance space, it has to be pressurised.
Yeah.
You can see why the boat remains the more cost-efficient way of having something on the surface of the sea,
Yeah.
rather than it being on a huge concrete leg with a concert hall in it.
And when all that's done, is there a tiny little gas tap at the top, like you have for a bunch of birds? Maybe a ton structure, and then you go.
They use it like a cigarette.
When we went for a cigarette at lunchtime at school, we went and stood around the back of the Shell garage. I shit you not. For a cigarette. Go to the garage, and we go around and smoke on the forecourt.
Safety first. I love it. Now, for double O occupation, can you name the longest lasting Soviet spy to work in the UK?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
My friend Steve. I shouldn't say that actually. But it is him.
It was a secretary called Melita Norwood, and she had a job in a metals firm in London that was heavily...
Just have to look at her.
I know, you could tell straight away.
To be fair to her, she spent a while in Slade as well.
Doesn't she look a bit like Richard, though?
You know what her main tactic was? Peering over people's walls.
We were tap 10 me about to trampoline.
It's on to trampoline.
Everyone Davis have ever win the house.
It just shows you it's worth another layer of bricks, isn't it? When you're building a wall around MI6.
Yeah.
How tall can someone be? 6'2" maximum.
She worked in a metals firm that was was heavily involved in Britain's atomic project, and every night she used to open her boss's safe and she used to photograph the contents, and thanks to her, the Soviet Union were able to test their nuclear weapons much sooner. And she was discovered as a spy in 1999 when she was 87 years old, and the authorities decided there was no point in prosecuting her. And she was, of course, nicknamed the Bolshevik of Bexley Heath. Which is a hideous error, because obviously Bolshevik is a male word. Should have been Bolshevichka.
Also, she lived in Stafford.
Yeah. One of the least effective spies, Britain's Michael Bettany, hired by MI5 in 1982. He once tried to dodge a ticket on a train while drunk. And when a guard chased him, he shouted, "You can't arrest me, I'm a spy."
It's so easy to overestimate the efficacy of the double bluff, isn't it?
Yeah. He later tried to get in touch with the KGB to sell them some documents, and the KGB thought they were being set up, and they informed MI5 of his treachery. So this is rubbish.
Look, that is the worst bunny rabbit you've ever seen.
The worst spying operation happened in 1940. This is one of my favourites. A dozen German spies landed in Britain, and they were all caught almost immediately. One walked into a pub and asked for a pint of cider soon after 9 o'clock in the morning. They weren't allowed to serve alcohol before lunch.
Half a litre of cider?
Straight away, please. Another couple were stopped while cycling through Scotland on the wrong side of the road, and when they looked in their bags, they found to contain German sausages and Nivea hand cream. And I
It's 9 o'clock in the morning! I'm out of cider.
I think it was because no British soldier would have hand cream, but it turns out Nivea's German. I didn't know that.
Is it?
One of them spoke no English at all, but the one who spoke English the best said his mission was to find out how the people is living, how many soldiers there are, and all the things.
I know that was a documentary, basically.
There are some people who think they were deliberately sent by senior German officers to sabotage the plot because they didn't want to invade Britain. But,
That's the Germans for you. At the time. A lot of them have mended their ways since.
our friends in Berlin, Richard's address is...
It's just bitter because they have really, really high fences.
That's a Berlin Wall. Oh,
Now, what is this man about to post?
A letter.
Is he about to post a Movember selfie on Facebook?
No, it's his most extraordinary thing. He's about to post himself.
Is it?
Yeah, his name is Willie Reginald Bray. He was also known as the Human Letter. He was an eccentric gentleman who spent his entire life pushing the British Post Office to their absolute limits. And he started by sending unwrapped stamped objects to himself. See how that would go. So he sent a shirt collar and a half-smoked cigar. That's him actually posting onions on the right there. He sent a turnip with the address carved into it, a rabbit skull with the address written along the nose bone, with the stamps glued onto the back. And almost all of it got through without any trouble at all, so he began to experiment. He wrote to any resident of London. There it is, any resident of London. Sadly, that was rejected, insufficiently addressed. But he did get his mother to crochet the address, and that was accepted. And he also wrote the address in mirror writing, and that was also accepted. And then he discovered in the post office guidelines that you could send a live animal as small as a bee if you wanted to through the post. So he couldn't get a bee, he settled on his dog. And then finally he sent himself through the post, shipped himself to his father, and there's his rather irritated father receiving him. Then he decided to build the world's largest collection of autographs. He wrote to the Reichstag in Germany. So many times there's a letter back from